was like, maybe we should probably change the subject. Love that he taught you enough to get you to where you are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love him because he taught, like, he let you stand here with me right now today.
Yes, which is, that's cute.
Yeah.
So Richard thinks that they're basically sitting ducks waiting to be shot, and he thinks that they need to attempt to go get to Zed, even though a couple days ago he was like, probably not a great idea, not gonna work, I'm gonna die on the way. But he refuses to leave the village until they get married, and that's gonna take at least a week.
Of course. Okay, first I want to say, why all of a sudden do you go, yeah, we're kind of exposed out here? I mean, I get having the sudden realization that you're in the middle of a field and totally visible, but you're on mud people's, I was going to say property. You're on their land. Shouldn't you be safe?
I think he was talking about, like, in general, just being at the mud people. That they were sitting ducks waiting there. Like, so the sisters are going to come back. Or, like, there's going to be some shit that goes down if they don't leave.
That makes way more sense to me, because I was like, why? They should be perfectly fine. Not only that, they're both armed.
Yeah, no.
Got the side piece, they're ready to go.
No, I think it's a more general we're sitting ducks thing, like, overall.
Way zoomed out.
Like, seriously, wear whatever's done with the dress is done with the dress. Wear what they have. Or say, finish it, mail it to me. We'll have a big reception later, okay?
Right.
We don't need to have your big normal wedding. We're already shooting to shit all of your traditions, okay? Birdman, say the words, we're gonna leave.
Yeah. I picture it like that Mel Brooks wedding at the, what is it, Robin Hood Men in Tights? And he's like, do you
Yeah.
kiss her? We're done here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I looked over and I read the comment while you were talking, and I was like, oh, I gotta bring that up. Alan says, look, I've always taught my kids not to start a fight, but they damn well better end one if someone else starts one with them. And you know what, Al? I was raised the same way. I was raised to never go looking for a fight. But if one is brought to me, then I should do my damnedest to finish it. And like I've always said, I may not beat you, but you're going to remember I was there.
I was taught the same thing, but nobody ever wanted to fight with me. And I was always very upset about this. Because I wanted to fight with people.
If I remember correctly, it's because when you were a teenager, you had one hell of a big mouth.
Yeah.
You talked a lot of shit. And, I mean, I'm a big guy, and all of my friends were with you. And so nobody was like, yeah, I'm going to call her out. Because it's just probably not smart.
Well, I'm just saying, not for my, like, lack of effort. But, I mean, I know now that was dumb. And I'm lucky.
You got away with it,
I probably would have gotten my ass beat more than once, but it never happened.
That, I mean, when, like, even before you met me, your dad's a big guy, too.
Yeah.
So if some poor schmuck wanted to come here just to talk shit to you and open the door to him, they'd probably reconsider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron says, I thought he was saying they should be more alert when they're out in the open, not having a picnic. See, that's initially... Oh, I'm sorry. They weren't safe when Richard was shooting with the others beforehand. No, that's true. That is true. But I thought that he was talking about literally being in the middle of a field and exposed.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe I guess it's just the matter of interpretation, because I thought that he was just talking overall, because he was like
story-wise.
Yeah, we need to get to Zed.
See, they're both good arguments. I could see both of them very clearly. I might have to, honestly, I'll go back and read the words again and see if I feel differently, paying attention to that. But I'm curious to know what the rest of you guys think, too. And then Al says, I scared people off by telling them that they would be fighting for their lives and I would be fighting for fun. So you're like Chase then, basically. I'm gonna fuck you up, son, but if you want to brawl, let's go. Let's have a Donnybrook.
So they shoot some more, and Kahlan gets a shaft shot, and she's super excited to tell the home guard about it, because she's going to have to get a fucking ribbon.
A woman got a shaft shot, Jade.
Yeah.
A woman.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, she's going to come in there with her bow and be like, guess what?
Just spike her bow and arrow. Fuck yeah, give me that ribbon.
Guess who doesn't need your asses anymore? Fired!
Oh.
Suddenly, Richard weirdly brings up the quad being protected by Darkin's magic, and how that was subtractive magic. So the only way she could have beat them was with subtractive magic.
Yeah, so she has to have it too. But this is whiplash for Kahlan. She's like, where the fuck did that come from, dude? It's almost as if he wasn't really paying attention to her while she was talking.
Well, it was whiplash for me too. And even after zooming out a little bit after them having the whole conversation, I still don't fucking get it.
Well, I mean, it's a fair question to ask because he did know that he couldn't hurt them. They couldn't hurt them. The quad was stronger than them, so there had to be a reason for that. But right now, talking about the things they're talking about is not where I would have discussed that. It probably would have been more like immediately after they were attacked by the quad.
Yeah, I don't understand why he brought it up now. And also, I don't get where his thought process, why it came up, why it matters to have been brought up, and then, his final thought, which is he doesn't understand why confessors would have subtractive magic. Again, so?
It's not like you're an expert on magic anyway, Richard.
Yeah.
You're just learning, if at all, if you can even come around to the fact that you have the gift. Why would you know? Why would you say, well, that doesn't make sense? Maybe there's just some shit you don't understand because you haven't been taught yet.
Yeah. And I guess I also didn't understand where Terry was going with it. Normally, when Richard does these pivots in the moment, even if I'm that doesn't make sense. If I was Kahlan in the moment, I would have been like, you're being a weirdo. Calm down.
Yeah, why does that matter?
But sometimes, as a reader, I can step back and go, okay, Terry had to introduce that, and Richard's thought process was sparked by this thing over here that Kahlan didn't see. In this situation, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. He just randomly spouted some bullshit for no reason.
Yeah, Aaron says it kind of felt like Terry wrote this passage and didn't know where to put it. So he just put it here. It does seem really random. Then again, I have random thoughts that aren't spurred by anything. So that's true. That's true. I guess, and this is actually something Aaron and I did talk about very briefly, is that there's a lot of exposition in this book where the characters are talking about something simply to give the reader information, and it wouldn't really go down that way in real life, but it has to come across somehow.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I was confused by this passage, by this one specifically, because usually when that happens, I can recognize it and say, I know what the point of that was from Terry's perspective, and I get how Richard would have maybe got there, even if it's a little bit of a jump for him to have said that. This is just so out of left field that I'm like, come on.
Bro, Evel Knievel couldn't have made that jump. What are you doing?
Yeah. If we're going to talk about this type of shit, the quad stuff should have gone back with the Mord Sith stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We talked about it a couple chapters, last chapter. Just, okay.
So Richard goes back to shooting, and Kahlan finally tries her hand at distraction. So she tries tickling him. That didn't work. I call bullshit. I would have dropped and rolled. Kind of like you were on fire. Stop, drop, and roll. Defend. And so she decides to try another way. She starts putting her hands all over him, and that doesn't really work. She starts kissing, and what I like to imagine maybe a little nibbling of the ear. And then she lets...
I think it even says she put her tongue in his ear.
In his ear?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is an earful then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh. And while she does this, right, her hand starts traveling south.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just read your note. When she grabs the prize, Richard finally loses focus and ends up turning to her, and they're like making out on the ground. But he's like, hey, you're fucking cheating. She goes, you said anything. Gotta be prepared, right?
Yeah.
I'll prepare you.
And it was funny because he was like squirming and yelling at her for cheating. And then all of a sudden when she finally grabbed it, and he was like, ah!
That's it. We're at level red. It's a go. It's a go.
And then in a sudden move, after this is all going down, and they're like sliding into home, Richard stands up and draws the sword because somebody is coming, but it's not him.
I just appreciated the artfulness of the sentence you just said. I'm really proud to be your husband right now. I was going to say, but he didn't get to hit the target or something like that. And you're like, no, but somebody is coming. And it's just not Richard. Which is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
But puts him on edge, draws the sword. They stare out into the tall grass. And all they can see is the grass moving around because there is something out there.
For real, though, how irritated would you be at this point? How many times have they, started something, and before they got really anywhere, something happens every single time?
All the times, yeah. I was going to say, I think this is actually the second time that they have been allowed to be alone together. But it's not great.
It's like a bad sitcom, where they're like, oh, we're so cool. And no, and there's the parents.
Yeah. Al says the question is, why doesn't Kahlan remember that wizards used to have subtractive magic?
Yeah, and Aaron says, good question. It seems like it would have come up in her training. And it seems like it shouldn't have been, I know it was a long time ago, but it doesn't seem like it's that long ago. She spent time down in, the books of prophecy and in the libraries. She definitely should know that it's a thing.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I mean, I guess my other thought is Kahlan is... What are we putting Kahlan at, guys? Are we thinking mid-20s?
I think we put Richard around 30, and Kahlan is right there with him.
Okay. All right. So even so, 30. I mean, I don't know how long they go to school for. I'm assuming in the Middle Ages, when your life expectancy is pretty much 30, you didn't get educated at all. Shortly thereafter, you were only educated until you were about 12 or 13 years old, and then you went to work. So under current standards anyway, she's only been out of school for a little over a decade. She should still know all of this stuff.
Yeah, well, and it's also weird that the wizards would have stopped talking about it. They don't have a history of magic class there. They could take some cues from Hogwarts.
Oh, Al says both of them are in their mid-20s. I'm curious, is there, text that supports that somewhere? I remember talking about it now and thinking, yeah, he's got to be about, I don't know, maybe our age, but no, they could be a little younger.
Yeah, totally. They could, yeah.
Again, I was just curious about that. And then the other thing he says is, especially since a confessor's power is a two-step process. For subtractive, it removes the person's personality